Cowgirl Kind is a beef tallow skincare business based on high quality, small batches made with care and intention. All ingredients are carefully and thoughtfully sourced for the highest quality. It is an incredibly effective product. Cowgirl Kind is locally owned and handmade by Melinda Kirkby. Visit cowgirlkind.com. At Arena Mindset, we are empowering athletes to transform their lives by cultivating grit, resilience, purpose, and authenticity. We believe the mind is an athlete's most powerful tool, and by overcoming the challenges of mental performance, they can build unshakable confidence and achieve success in every arena of life. For more information, you can find us at arenamindset.net or on our Facebook page. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I'm here with Jeremy Meador at the NRC and CHA show in Winnemucca, Nevada. Jeremy, how's it going?
It's going great.
Yeah, thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Yeah, I had a little time after your paid practices to come in the air conditioning.
Yeah, I'm enjoying my kind of little vacation.
Nice.
Yeah.
Not too bad of a show then?
No, it's a pretty good pace for me. So
Perfect. How many did you bring this weekend?
I brought four to show, just 2 3-year-olds to lope around in there and see what kind of trouble I can get into, and derby horse and a bridle horse. So
Yes, the futurity horses. It's sneaking up on us, isn't it?
yes, it is, whether we like it or not.
It's about that time of year where everybody starts panicking a little bit, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then do you have some non-pros here this weekend as well?
I will have one non-pro here, Riley McGehee.
Yeah, little rock star, Riley McGee.
Her little Wonder Roan pony.
Yeah, man, they are quite the team.
Yeah.
Super impressive.
Yeah, pretty proud of both of them.
You should be. You guys as a team are doing fantastic.
Yep.
Unfortunately, she's always in my class, which is really unfortunate for me, but I am super proud of her because she is one of the nicest girls and just such a hard worker and humble and kind and has a great family.
Yeah, I think it's well deserved.
Yeah, she's the type of person you want to see do well. Yeah, so.
Yeah, for sure.
How long's she been in your program?
A little over 2 years now, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they literally can't mark less than a 74, I swear. They don't even know how.
I know, it's like an off day.
Yeah. Oh, you got a 72? That's terrible. Shame on you. Yeah.
I find myself cheering for her, but gosh.
Oh man, she's killing it.
She's better at this than I am.
She rides so well and fearless. I think that youth really kicks in on that fearless thing, but.
Well, that horse has put a lot of confidence in her.
Good. I think everybody deserves a couple of those.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think we all could probably use a few more of those in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So I'd kind of like to dive into your history and let people get to know you. So let's start from the origin story, maybe just ahead of the origin story of Jeremy Meador.
Well, it's been quite the journey to get to where I am, and to ever think that this is where I'd be, I don't even know how it happened. I was born 1971 in Sacramento, California. My parents were hippies.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
My mother would probably get mad at me, but no, she won't. She was 16 when she had me, so she was still a kid herself.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a tumultuous time. But we got through it, and I think I spent the first year there in Rancho Cordova outside Mather Air Force Base, and moved to Alaska.
Oh, really? What part?
Fairbanks.
I actually did a stint in Alaska and spent some time in Fairbanks and Healy, so I feel for you. I mean, no offense to anybody from Alaska. It was different.
I remember a lot about it. I definitely remember the cold. Definitely remember either not seeing the sun or not seeing the moon, long days, long nights. And a lot of the things that I kind of don't want to remember, but that's where my mom met the man who adopted me working on the pipeline. And the man who adopted me gave me his name. The man who raised me, basically.
How old were you during that time?
I think I met him when I was 4 to 5. And he had just gotten medically discharged from the Marine Corps from Vietnam. and had made a pretty good recovery and was there working on the pipeline, making money.
Yeah, good money, probably.
Kind of a ladies' man, very charismatic, but he's from Texas. And I was enamored that he was a cowboy. I can remember being in a taxi, like, where are y'all going? Like, we're going to old Jim Meador's house. He's a cowboy from the olden days, So he got me my first cowboy outfit, hat, and even had a vest,
Heck yeah.
Might have been corduroy bell bottoms, but hey,
Balance,
Yeah, so from there, we moved to Houston, Texas. And I think they got married when I was 5.
Nice.
And moved around a lot. Him working in the he was a materials contractor, manager, didn't actually work on the pipeline or in the field, just chasing material. So we lived, good Lord, I think I never went to the same school twice till junior high, maybe.
Wow.
And sometimes moved multiple times in the year, from Iowa, Mississippi, New Mexico, Texas, Kansas, probably a few more that I can't remember, but yeah, you got good at making friends,
So it's funny because I actually went to 22 schools when I was going through, and that was actually before high school because I went to one high school. But yeah, so I feel you on that one.
So my high school, I went to kindergarten there, and we wound up moving back, and I went to high school there. And so this is a East Texas 2A town. It's probably 30 kids in my senior class.
Did they all remember you?
No, I didn't remember them either. And so it's a very small town, cliquish. And that was a pretty tough time to just show back up on the scene,
Yeah.
We had just moved from New Mexico. We had spent the last 5 years there, then finally moved back to the place in Elkhart, Texas. But anyway, high school wound up good. I was one of them by the time it was all said and done, and formed lifelong friendships and relationships,
Was that kind of a more ag-based community? Did you get your feet wet more in the cowboy lifestyle at that time?
No, I was the only one that had interest in horses. They had interest in Metallica and, bonfires and, driving fast. Yeah, that was kind of the deal, We didn't want to be anywhere but out on them back roads and running around, just being kids, playing in the dirt. And
Small town Saturday night,
yeah,
right?
for sure. Yeah, it is a great place. It's a great place to be from, I don't know that I could ever live there again, but it's sure a fun place to go visit and remember, and beautiful, piney woods, green, rolling. Yeah.
Don't have to worry about irrigating all the time and stuff like that.
And most of them are still there. So my parents divorced when I was a senior, and the day after graduation, we're in the U-Haul, headed back to Sacramento with my mother and my sister.
Did your mother still have family in Sacramento? Yeah, so it's just headed
Going
back
right
to home.
back to the house where I was, lived in after birth, and my grandma's place. And that was quite an experience. You're 18 years old and driving this big old U-Haul truck across country with one of your high school buddies to help move, right? Oh, we were king of the world,
It's a good friend to help you move across the country.
Trying to keep up with my mother in rush hour Fort Worth traffic, and she's driving a little Toyota something or another, Yeah, or the time we got, I was in the left lane, crossed New Mexico there, and didn't realize I had some semis backed up for like a mile. And I quietly moved over, and I got flipped off for like a mile.
Every car that goes by.
I think I even got mooned by the driver of one. So
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
yeah, I don't think I've ever done that again.
Yeah.
Those some of the best lessons are learned the hard way, you know?
For
You don't
sure.
ever forget those.
Yeah, it makes them pretty unforgettable.
School of hard knocks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Getting 15 middle fingers and a mooning probably sank in pretty fast.
Yeah. So here's a small town, East Texas boy. Of course, back then, you know, my accent was pretty thick. You know, that's a long time ago. I hate to even count how long ago it was now, but so get to Sacramento and I get a job downtown in an auto parts warehouse and working with my cousin, and I hated it there. It's culture shock, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't really identify with anybody, but I had a great time because every weekend, most weekends, I just get my little Toyota pickup and I go drive, you know, go see Yosemite, go up north, and you know, and it was really fun to kind of have that freedom, you know, to be able to do that.
What year did you graduate?
89.
So that's about the time frame we're headed back to Sacramento then, 89,
Yeah, the day after graduation.
day after graduation.
Hardly even got to say goodbye to anybody, you know.
Ugh, that sucks.
It was tough doing that. Oh, Floyd Cloud going with me, and that was kind of a godsend to have somebody kind of hold my hand, you know.
So it's funny because when I moved from my middle school to my high school, my best friend helped me move, and similar situation. It does help.
Yeah. So I wandered around there for a little bit. My real dad lives up in Boise, so I'm gonna take a little visit up there, and I had a relationship with my dad.
Oh, you did? Okay, you had met him.
Yeah. I mean, when I was born, my last name was Mason. So I decided, hey, this is a pretty good place for me. I'm gonna come up there, and with the intentions of becoming a whitewater guide, a raft guide, and that's actually why I moved up here. And I did that for about 13 years. Wow. Yep.
Wow, there's a lot of it in Idaho, that's for sure.
Yep. And but I always wanted to be a cowboy, you know. Of course, didn't have any interest in the summer because I had the perfect job in the summer.
Yeah, yeah.
Sunglasses, pair of shorts, and some sandals.
I'm sure you have some great stories from that set of adventures.
A raft to sleep in at night, you know. Hopefully you gave a good ride and you had some tip money to go eat with, you know. Have to go into town once every 2 weeks maybe to take care of something, but most of it was spent up there, you know.
What section of river?
Just on the Payette. All the sections on the Payette. It's the only one that I was licensed on. I've run most all the rivers in Idaho, the Lochsaw, the Salmon, the Owyhee, the Bruno, the Snake.
Yeah. Is it something you still do?
Oh, I love it. I mean, I don't do it enough anymore. I didn't do it for a while when I started training horses. Quit that and started riding horses full time. That's kind of a funny story because I had a chance to kind of become a global raft guide where I could like do the circuit, you know, go to New Zealand, maybe Africa, Zambezi,
What?
you know, and
I didn't even know this existed.
oh
What?
yeah, well, it'd be like the summer would be in the Payette. No, the spring would be the Lochsaw, and then the Payette in the summer, and then you maybe go back to West Virginia and run the Golly in the fall, and then get a gig overseas doing something else, you know. And I choose horses. And that first summer there at, gosh darn, I don't even remember where I was now.
What year is this? What time frame is this?
Oh my gosh. That's
I'm asking you the hard questions.
6 years ago. So I was 27 maybe.
So did you have much
We're
experience?
getting a little too far ahead of that because this is going to tie in just a second, I think, because there's a little college experience there. But anyway, about making that decision, I mean, it's hot, you know, and I'm like, why did I not do that at least a year before I decided to do this, you know? But there's no turning back. So off you go, you know?
It is definitely hot.
Yeah. So there's a pressure to go to school, you know, a lot. And I didn't see myself really wanting to go to school. But I found a little niche where I could kind of go to school and kind of do what I wanted to do. So I went to Lamar Community College when I was 25.
Oh, okay.
Went through their horse training and management program, which is something I definitely don't put on the business card, you know. Not that there's anything wrong with it,
No,
but
no.
it was a way to go to school, made mom happy, you know. And I may have even learned something, I don't know, but I had pretty substantial experience with horseback by that time because I'd found my cowboy job.
Oh, you
You
had.
know,
What was that?
went to work in feed yards. So after becoming, the raft guide, I would work in the wintertime for my grandfather at a tent and awning business. I can sew like the wind blows, or at least I used to be able to. And this is really not for me. And anyway, I just took a chance and stopped in there at Simplot in Caldwell and asked for a job, and they gave it to me. You know, I didn't know my butt from a hole in the ground.
Did you have a horse and everything at that time? No,
No,
no.
no, that's okay. They got plenty of good ones to ride, right?
Sure. Sure they do.
So then there became the journey. Uh, worked with a man, for a man, Garrett Squirrel, probably the meanest man I've ever known in my life.
You learned fast, or you?
You did, and it got to where I dreaded because I was his gate boy.
Oh, rough.
And of course you're not mounted very well.
No.
And I kind of knew what a sick one looked like, you know. But when he runs 50 at you, and there's two sick ones, and you let a well one out or turn a sick one back, it's not a good day.
Did you have any cattle experience at this time?
Not really. I mean, we had just a little bit, a few cows we raised, but no, it was a darn sure learning experience.
You just jumped right into the deep end.
Mm-hmm. And my only mission in life was to please him. And I tipped horses over. I mean, I'd get into this wreck and that wreck, but I was winning him over, And we're trotting down the feed alley one day, and he says, "You sure do screw up a lot." He says, "But when you do it at a trot." And I like that.
I love that saying.
Yeah. And fast forward that, we wound up being really good friends. I think a ton of him. He's gone now, but wound up being the meanest man I ever knew to one of the nicest. But he wasn't always nice to everybody. No.
Yeah, I'm sure he changed your perspective on a lot of things when it comes to horses and cows, though, I would assume.
Yep.
And maybe a little work ethic.
Yep. So then, from there, I kind of went to school, and we had to do an internship there. And I stayed right there in Lamar because Kenny Ingalls, he's a cutter, Kenny and Dana, had a little place just outside of town. And I'd worked out where I was kind of working there already anyway, part-time. And that's where I chose to do my internship.
Nice.
I learned a lot about building barns and cleaning stalls, building fence,
Bathing a horse.
shoveling snow, plowing snow. Yeah. A little bit about cutting horses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did learn quite a little bit about starting colts. A little different approach there.
Was there?
Yeah.
Different than the average cutting horse program, or?
I don't know. I haven't been in too many others. Yeah. So Kenny had a big old bronc pen with slanted walls, wood. Yeah. And he'd get one in there with a saddle horse, and of course he'd rope them by hind foot and stop them and maul them around, and they kind of sweat themselves out, and we'd be cleaning stalls, and he'd holler, "I need a cowboy." And we're like, "Your turn." My turn.
Team up. Rock, paper, scissors.
So we'd go down there with our saddles, and he said, "All right, so just get your hands on him now. Go ahead and saddle him," and then step away, and he'd drive him off. They'd blow up and buck, and he'd just stop him. Wasn't mean to him. I'm not trying to paint a picture that it was abusive.
Him. Yeah.
It was, something that I had never seen. And he said, "All right, step on. No halter." And
so you got nothing but a saddle horn. You're just sitting up there like a duck.
Yep. And he had a theory behind this. And they'd start to buck or something. He'd stop them. And pretty soon we're helping. We're being chickens and let that rope come off, and he'd throw you a halter and go, "See you later," and he'd leave.
No way.
Yeah. And I know that he had a little knot hole over there that he'd go park his horse and tiptoe back over there But he didn't want to scare them horses by pulling on them, by, you know. And one thing it taught you was if you got in trouble, you got them going. Boy, there's a lot of rubbing and a lot of being nice, and you reach down there, you know, it's really hard to get over your saddle horn on a colt like that mentally.
I imagine.
They're going to go that way, and you're going to go that way. Yeah. And they get the booger on. You'd set up and get that lead rope going, and but by second or third ride, shoot, they're almost outside riding around, you know. So I've not repeated that process since, but it's kind of a two-man gig, you know.
It's unique.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say that when I start my 2-year-olds, I typically try to like just keep my hands down and not touch their head and just let them go as much as I can. But I've never done it without anything on them. That's brave.
I always thought I was pretty good at talking one out of bucking, you know, without really taking a hold of one. Just changing their mind, you know.
You got a lot of practice at it.
Yeah, I did.
It's probably a skill that still comes in handy.
So Pepe's Boy 895, I think, is the horse that kind of made Kenny and kind of his claim to fame. He's a bronc, no doubt about it.
Really?
But first time he showed him, you know, he just lays down in front of this cow, you know. But he had to deal with the man that owned the horse. He gave him a horse every year, and this year he gave him a filly, and the bet was she wasn't going to buck. And of course, I was the lucky individual that got started, and we had like $100 bet or something like that. Anyway, he lost the bet. I never got paid, but he did introduce me to the trips, the running W's, because after about the second day, you know, I'm riding her on my own. Well, this thing's bucking. And the third day, like, she's bucking harder. And I'm like, Kenny, I'll figure about tomorrow. She's going to buck harder than I can ride.
Right. I think I've about hit my quota.
Yeah. So he says, well, let's go teach you about the trips, the running W's. And it's just a pulley system that you can take their front feet away, you know. I defy you to put a quicker stop on one when you say that word and just sit there and hold that rope and let them feet come out from under them, you know.
And then get the heck out of the way.
Well, you're halfway across pin.
Okay.
You know, you're on a long line.
Gotcha.
They're just doing it to themselves,
Right.
you know. So first day I ride her with the trips, I got a little shorter rope. I'm going to operate it. Got my split reins, you know, by the time, I mean, she bucks, and by the time I get the right one pulled, you know, everything gathered up, I mean, I probably already rode her half a minute, it seemed like, you know. And it did save my life, but it was probably a month, 2 months before she did. But like, you had to just wean her off of it, you know, like to one rope to.
And we're not talking just a playful little crow hop on the first lope off kind of situation.
And I don't know how many times, even when she'd run off in the big cutting pin and roll over on me and trip. And
oh, geez.
Yeah. But I learned a lot.
I bet you did.
I learned, hey, maybe let's not ride that kind, you know?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, pick and choose.
She wound up being a good horse, though, finally.
Did you mostly do, I mean, besides the barn building and snow shoveling, did you mostly do 2-year-old work at that facility, or did you ride any finished cutters?
Every now and then, and he was good enough to put us on something and give us a taste, you know, but it was labor and 2-year-old stuff for sure.
Yeah. How long were you there?
Just a semester.
Gotcha.
Plus the previous time that I'd been working there while going to school. Mm-hmm. So I'd say 2 semesters, year. So I leave there and go to Hooker Creek in Bend, Oregon, work for Matt Day, work with Robbie Boyce, spent a year there. That was kind of my first introduction to the cow horse, for sure. Yeah. Were
you instantly hooked?
Yeah. Well, Hooker Creek at that time, I mean, it was beautiful, still is a beautiful place, but you're living in paradise. I mean, you got the sisters behind you. You know, it's just almost a storybook. Right? Everything's green, everything's manicured, there's flowers, there's facilities nice, there's nice horses. Robbie and I would rope in the evenings for fun. Nice. You know, Yeah, you thought you just made it right there, you know. Uh, it had its ups and downs, but most of it was up. I mean, I had plenty of work to do, just not a lot of instruction, you know. But you learn to figure things out by watching, and you know, you can't always be led around by the hand, you know.
No, and that's pretty uncommon in this
Yeah.
field of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did your duties include there?
Mainly just riding 2-year-olds, and I got to show a few, and
Was that your introduction to the show pin?
in the cow horse, yeah. Well, I actually was showing cutter for them at that time. And it was more just for me, you know. I don't think I ever showed an actual cow horse while I was there. Just showed a cutting mare or two. Like we'd come over to the AQHA shows here. We'd go around to the little deals there, and uh, no, it was great.
Do you remember your first show experience?
Actually, my first show experience was with Kenny Ingalls, and I think we had another $100 bet that I was going to cut the one that run. I know I will not. He said, yes, you will. No, I will not. And there I go.
So you lost $100?
I was gone. Yeah.
Dang it.
That's probably why it didn't pay me for that mare that bucked, because we broke even.
Well, I'm glad we figured
Forgot
that
all
out.
about that.
See?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because you see that a lot, you know, even still, people that don't have a lot of experience at it cut the wrong cow, the one that doesn't want to be there. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. They start leaking away and you feel like you have to chase them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've done it.
So I don't know. I may have like $1,000 in NCHA earnings or something. I don't know, but it's been a long time. So since I've pursued anything like that.
You stick to NRCHA primarily now.
Yep. Yeah. So I leave Hooker Creek, come home to Idaho, and go to work at a boarding facility out behind Micron. Just hung out my shingle.
How long were you in Oregon?
Year.
Here.
Yeah.
So you didn't spend a whole lot of years as an assistant before you just went
No.
for it.
Yeah.
You kind of like jumping into deep end, don't you?
Apparently.
That's what we're hearing.
Apparently. Yeah, and anybody out there listening, if you're contemplating this, take a good hard look at that. Stay a little longer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get some experience.
Yeah. So the place out behind Micron in Boise, Idaho, what did you say focused solely on cow horses at
I
that
was
time
just-
or whatever
I
you
was
could
just
get?
solely trying to make a living. I was riding Tennessee Walkers. I was riding Paints. I was riding Arabs. I was riding Bronchi ones. I was, you know.
Yeah.
So they were friends of ours, of mine, and they had built that facility, and they had bought a good horse. Asia Fraker actually trained him. Billy Blackchecks, the reiner. Nice horse. And I got to kind of turn him into a cow. He was kind of like my first cow horse project, and pretty limited on facility and access to cattle and stuff there at that boarding facility. But I got him in the show pen a time or two, and we sold him at Billings for whatever reason, and never really had big prospects at that point until I moved to Star, the 3K ranch, which is now the High Desert, up on Blessinger.
Who owned it when it was 3K?
Larry Knapp.
Okay.
Yep. And I was there for, good Lord, 12 years.
Yeah. How long were you at the place in Boise?
About 4 to 5 years I was there. And then it was a big deal for me to move. You know, I don't like change very good. And
Comes from moving a lot when you're young. I don't like it either.
you'd think it would be a little easier for me, but they're about that stage of my life. It was starting to get kind of tough, you know. But they were, decisions that were going to mean more because I was kind of on my own now, you know. So move up to Larry's and buy myself a little fifth wheel camper and live in that, and got my first futurity horse, and 2000, when I showed him in 2005, would have been my first futurity horse.
What was that horse?
DeVito done it. He was a Hollywood done it by something out of Oklahoma by Trailer at Night. But that was my horse. And he made me think this was easy.
He was yeah, I feel like everybody gets one of those too.
Yeah. He was a good horse. Like, I would love to have that horse over again.
Oh, that's a good question for you. If you could pick one, would it be him?
Oh, absolutely. Top 4, if not 3, if not 2. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's kind of funny. The first time I showed him, Arco, Idaho, the Central Idaho Futurity, Rain Cowers Futurity, he marks a 78 in the reining.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's kind of a funny story because D. Craig, I think he marked 78. And he got reviewed to a 77 and a half. It was a single judge, no video.
Oh,
yeah.
How do you review with no video?
I don't know, but my 78 stuck.
Is there like a sketch artist sitting in the stands?
Yeah, must be something like that. Well, I know the horse was darn sure good, and I survived the hard work to about a 70, 71, and of course I was a 60 down the fence, so I thought I was going to win the whole darn thing,
Oh, no. That fence work is pretty humbling.
Well, that Arco Arena is a little tough, too, if anybody's ever
I've never seen that one.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've been there, but I kind of miss it.
They still host events there? I've never. Do
rodeos and stuff like that. Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a facility in Arco.
Apparently, there's still money in the bank for the Central Idaho Rein Cow Horse Association. So,
really?
Even though it's sitting dormant.
Well, somebody should get it rolling again then, huh?
Yeah. Back to the SIF. That's what we call it.
Nice.
Going to the SIF. Yeah. So, yeah.
Did you get a whole, did you gather a few show horses while you were at, I want to say High Desert, but what was it? 3K?
It was a 3K.
Okay.
Yeah, not the KKK, just the 3K.
3K. Gotcha.
Yeah. Then you start getting, more of the right kind of horses,
Yeah. Start building your clientele and getting in with those owners and things like that.
Yeah. Been and Done It was my next one. He was another Hollywood Done It grandson, just a horse. But that horse gave me everything.
Do you have much, that's pretty reigning bloodlines. Mm-hmm. Was there any cow horse?
He's extremely cowy. Yes. Like, I always thought he was going to hurt himself.
Really? That cowy, huh?
Because, I didn't know a lot about pattern and this, that, and the other. As long as they were cowy, I was happy. And he'd get himself or I'd get him in a bad way. And I was like, you're going to break your back trying to get across here, But just a great big heart. Yeah. And I showed him at the World Show in San Angelo, and he was like the first one, like I was the national champion on him in the limited open bridle. And
how cool.
Was reserve world champion, I think, on him, the limited open bridle. And
very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's kind of the one that kind of gave me the biggest taste, Yeah.
Do you think of all the ones you've shown, he's been your biggest career changer?
Probably. I've won more money on other horses, and, Upper Class Cat is probably, to date, the horse for me that I've had, where everything just clicked and it was easy, and
she's a nice mare,
and put the substantial earnings on her. And another one that made you think this is easy, right? So you go from my first 3-year-old to the next year, it was a dual pep that bucked every day for 90 days, and just numb and didn't want to play. And it was actually my wife's horse, that she had bought. And anyway, fast forward to, Upper Class Cat, where I just felt like she trained herself, and like all you got to do is just ride her around real quiet and, just be good to her and she'll be good to you. And I thought you could ride the rest of them that way.
Boy, that'd be nice.
Almost felt like it took me back a step,
Kind of spoiled you a little bit.
Yeah.
So when did you meet Carolyn, your wife?
At the Dusty Acre boarding facility when I moved from Oregon back here. She was boarding her horse there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many years have you guys been married now?
Oh, I knew.
Oh, am I putting you on the spot? Uh-oh. Should I message her real quick and ask?
Well, I think it's 17.
17?
17 years.
Nice.
Probably 16, or it could be 18. It's anywhere from 16 to 18 years that we've been married. But we've been together, for far longer than that. So I met when I was 30. We were 30. We got married when we were 36. Sounds about right to me. She probably can't remember either. So, yeah.
Well, that's all right, though. Doesn't matter in the long run, right?
Yeah. Yeah, she was different. She had tattoos. She has a tattoo. For some reason, I have this memory of her being covered in them.
Tattoos, and like, is it one giant tattoo? If you say tattoos, it makes me think of
No,
like half her
she's
body.
only got one, and I'm like,
I don't even think I've ever seen it.
I don't even know where this memory comes from. But she had just moved up. She's from the Pacific Northwest, around Seattle, and she was living down in San Diego, and moved up here to work for Micron. Bought her a house, had a couple of horses. She's there, I'm there, and but she was, an athlete and into mountain biking and hiking and skiing and all that stuff, Oh, opposites attract, I guess, and that's kind of what wound up happening, even though it was kind of a slow process,
Yeah.
For sure.
She's still very active in some of those things, isn't she?
She sure wants to be, yeah.
Adventurous.
Yeah. That knee surgery and whatnot has kind of slowed her down a little bit, but
age creeping up on us all. I hate that.
Every day.
Gosh.
Every day.
I know. I'm still 20 in my brain, but.
This episode is brought to you by 27 Equine Marketing, the Northwest's premier equine photography and videography company, specializing in conformation and black background photos, as well as quality show reels and sell videos. For premium content, contact us to highlight your equestrian program. 27 Productions, creating digital content for the Western world. From music videos to Western wear and product promotion, we create engaging materials that connect with your audience.
So you meet Carolyn at Dusty Acres. You head to the 3K, not to be confused with the other Ks.
Mm-hmm.
And how long are you at 3K?
About 13 years.
Oh, wow. You were there for a long time.
Yeah, I'm hard to get rid of.
Yeah. You do not like change then, apparently.
No, I don't.
No.
Yep.
But that's a nice facility there.
Yeah. Of course, I saw it go through lots of changes. Bill Schmidt built that place originally, and oh man, it was beautiful. Mm-hmm. Beautiful place. Every pasture was knee deep or belly deep in grass and lodgepole fencing, everything, Mm-hmm. The arenas, the fencing, the cutting pen, the feedlot, all that stuff had a very rustic look to it. And
yeah.
A little bit more rundown when I got there. But then that's when all the transformation took place at 3K, building that massive indoor arena and rebuilding all the outdoor pens and stuff like that. So
it was a really nice indoor.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah. Got to ride with a few different people there. Henry Nabel. Novel.
Yep.
Yeah, we shared some space there.
Yeah.
Good old Henry, still living the American dream.
I still see him there every once in a while too, teaching lessons and stuff.
That's one guy that I'm proud of. Anybody that doesn't know him, I mean, he's from Germany, and he had one ambition in life, and that was to move to America and become a cowboy. And he wears cowboy hat every day.
Yes, he does.
He's got his own place. He's got his own indoor arena. He's got his own business. He's done exactly what he set out to do. So more power to him. There's the American dream unfolding right before you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just goes to show what determination can provide in this country.
Yeah. Greg Smith, Cutter. Him and I shared place up there at Larry's for quite a few years. And
I don't think I know Greg Smith.
He's not showing much anymore. He's hauling horses for a living now. Mm-hmm. I'm sure anybody needs something hauled, just reach out to old Greg and he'll get you taken care of.
Yeah. But he was a cutting trainer for
Yeah,
a
he's a
while.
Hall of Famer.
Okay.
$1 million rider.
Man, I don't know why I don't know that name. Okay.
Yep. Yep. Learned a lot just being around him. Super guy to be around. Then met call them the makers, James Baker, Lauren Macy,
Yep. Red Tail
and
Ranches.
kind of started the Red Tail chapter for me. And which again, here comes change. You
Yeah.
know,
It was
it was
only a
hard.
mile of change, though. It's only a mile down the road.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Yeah, but that wound up being a really good chapter in my life. You know,
They
access
have
to
put
some good
together quite the
horses.
impressive breeding program, and Upper Class Cat was one of those horses.
Yep.
Yeah, that
Yep.
they own and are now breeding.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's still making herself seen in the show pen. So
So did you derby her too? You fraternity'd her.
fraternity and derby.
Nice. Yeah.
Supreme Reign Cow Orchard.
Very cool. She did a great job. She's phenomenal.
Oh,
athlete.
I think a monkey could have trained her. You know,
I need that one.
yeah, yeah. Just such an honest mare.
Yeah. She's like kind of just like the regular little red mare, but holy cow, is she a freak athlete?
Yeah, she has no idea she's that small.
Yeah.
I still don't know that I've had anything that really stopped harder or farther than her. You know,
Yeah.
I don't care how big a horse it is. You know.
Oh, she's a
she can
beast.
stop
She
and
is a
whirl
beast.
around.
Yeah. And seems to be
Happy and pleasant.
pretty happy to be around. Yeah. Yeah. They've got Red Hot Metal too. Did you ever, he was just Cutter, right?
He's just Cutter. Yep.
Yeah.
I've ridden him a few times. I really like the horse as an individual. I like, being around him. I liked watching him show. I thought he was impressive in the show pen,
Yeah.
very accurate. And I'm really kind of starting to like his babies.
Man, I really am too. I got to take some marketing photos for him once, and I was so impressed because we set up right in the middle of a barn alleyway to get black background pictures. And it's full of mares, and he's a stud, and he was just as quiet and didn't care, just sweet, easy to work with.
Yeah.
Probably one of the easiest stallion shoots I've ever done. And so I was really intrigued by him after that, and then been paying attention, and his babies are really starting to show up on the scene here in the show pen, and seem to be pretty non-friendly or non-pro friendly as well.
Yeah.
And not just kind of an open bloodline.
No, I'd say that's pretty accurate description.
Yeah.
Yep. I've got a couple out of him right now. I've got one by him out of Susie, Upper Class Cat, that I own. And I'm kind of excited about him.
That'll be fun.
Yep. He, I think he's going to be a good one, knock on wood, but
Right.
yeah.
All we can do is hope.
I mean, it'll take something drastically going wrong for him not to be a good one
Right.
or a great one.
Yeah.
I think there's even, that term might apply.
Yeah.
So,
I would believe it. I'm pretty impressed with both those bloodlines. So,
yeah,
yeah. How old is that one?
he's two.
Exciting. So, one to watch for next year.
Yeah.
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 Very fun.
He reminds me a lot of her, and just a little bit of him.
Yeah.
It's hard to say exactly which parts, but just think he's put a little quiet boldness into this colt. Susie was not that she was unconfident by any means, but she's very careful about a cow and did not want to, never want to do anything wrong. So she was very careful. And I don't know, for me, sometimes that's hard, to, as a cow horse, to be careful
Right.
because you got to go take chances, kind of,
Things speed up fast.
Yeah.
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 So, Red Tail, you were there for quite some time.
10 years.
10 years. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful facility.
Yeah.
I mean, who could ask for more, beautiful facility.
Yeah. Great place. It's sad that it's changed
Yeah, it's
now.
all gone. Yeah.
Unfortunately, growth in our area has changed a lot of landscapes, but it was real sad to see that place change. But
Yeah,
understand why. I mean, Jim and Lauren
yeah,
need to do what's best for them, and that
for
makes total
sure.
sense. But
Absolutely.
it was a nice facility, but they just got surrounded by subdivisions. It was kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even recognize it there when I drive by anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely strange. I was there a couple months ago, and it's not even anywhere near when you drive up.
Yeah.
The
And
outdoors
you
gone, and
drive right by it if you're not careful.
yeah, yeah, definitely different. So from Red Tail, where did you go?
Well, we bought a place in Middleton, and Jake Telford has been gracious enough to let me camp out at his place for the last year while we're slowly building in Middleton.
Slowly is the key to all those major projects, isn't it?
Yes.
Unfortunately, time
Yes.
and money.
Time and money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. With
So-
the intentions of being in Middleton,
Nice. So you're putting in all the good stuff, barn and arena, and
Yep.
I'm sure the list is long.
No indoor.
No indoor.
Might be a little bit before we can afford that, but
Man, yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe win the lottery. you
or
know.
that.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
So in your construction process, you had some visitors that you found, or some residents that were there before you, maybe even that you found on your property.
Yeah. Yeah. Found a little litter of raccoons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tearing down a shed, and this kid helping me, he reaches in there and he just comes out with raccoons. And I got really excited. And I'd been thinking about just not long before that, I'd like to have a raccoon. And there they are. Not only one, we got 5. So I was like, what made you think you could just pick that thing up? And he's like, I don't know. Just did, but
Young and brave.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we kept one and gave the rest away. And Dr. Dre, that's his name. He's going to be Al Capone because I just knew he's going to be a little criminal. But we went with Dr. Dre instead. So
Well, he's sure cute. He's been at the show many times. He's adorable.
yeah, he's kind of beyond that stage now. I don't think
Don't
it'd be
bring
that
him
much
around
fun to
anymore.
have him come.
Is he mischievous? Is he a criminal like you thought he was going to be?
Not terrible.
No?
No. Kind of getting reclusive. He's like a lazy house cat now.
Oh, really?
He comes and goes, but you don't ever know his schedule if he's going to sleep out under the porch all day or want to stay in the house all day.
Do you guys do you have to keep him contained, or is he
No.
he's
No.
domesticated? He's not going anywhere.
He knows our neighbors. That's the only reason we know our neighbors, because he's found all their pet doors and he goes and visits and makes his rounds. And
Does he go in their house through
he
their
has,
doors?
yeah.
Oh no. Is he
Yeah.
raiding their cabinets?
I haven't heard anything, terrible from those experiences, but I guess he's been hanging around a lot more lately.
That's funny.
But we just, figured if he wants to live here, he can live here.
Right.
So every morning when we leave, dogs and the coon goes out, and in the evening they're all 3 at the door half the time, wanting back in the house, the raccoon as well. So,
That's funny.
but there's never a dull moment with him when he's in the mood for it,
They're so entertaining. Yeah.
hilarious.
They're
Just their antics where they lay down and stretch out, or, with their legs up behind their head, or,
their little fingers.
yeah.
So does he have to wash his food before he can eat it? Don't they have to wet their food? Or is that something I made up?
Well, they have to wet their hands because there's so many nerve endings in their hands that it lets them memorize their food for the texture. So yeah, I mean, a lot, I thought that too, and a lot of people thought that, but apparently it's for their hands so they can
Oh,
feel
really?
better. Yeah.
I always thought it was like a saliva thing or something.
Nope.
That's
Nope.
interesting.
No. So I've had him drool on me. He can, yeah, he produces saliva. He'll purr like a cat sometimes.
Really? They
Yeah.
purr?
Not very often, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I've seen videos where people give them like cotton candy and they go to wash it and it dissolves and they're so upset. Have you not seen
Yeah,
this?
that's,
It's
God, what a
hilarious.
mess that would be.
It would be funny. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he'll do where he lays on his back, and reaches over, like he's feeding himself grapes. It's just such hard work.
So much work. He needs
Yeah.
somebody to fan him while
Yes,
he does it.
exactly. Yeah.
So you refer to him as a lazy house cat, but I hear you're kind of like a cat trainer, or could be. They love you so much.
Yeah, I guess.
Your wife told on you.
Laura Kirchhoff problem. Yeah. No, I get along with the kitties all right.
Yeah.
So,
Kind of
yeah.
an animal guy in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for a pet,
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
you didn't judge me when I had bottle kittens at the last show. So
No, shoot, no.
I know. Yeah, I'm a sucker too.
That's why I'll never have a working dog, because they're pets to me,
Same here. I have a really nice Australian Shepherd that doesn't know how to work a cow at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.